Going live. Welcome to the Awaken Beauty podcast. I am Cassandra, your organic beauty, positive mind management, and clinical hypnotherapist. And I am here for a wonderful, let's say part 2 with our lovely friend, Philip. Now, we live in an ocean of motion. And by that, I mean energetic waves of frequency. And at its densest form, it makes the seat you're sitting on, your organs, and the physical screen you tapped onto to lead you to this mind-opening episode you're listening to today. For over 2 years, I have used biofeedback to measure, support, and rebalance the energetic health and consciousness of my clients' lives. And when you can physically see the representation of what is invisible to the eye, it brings you into a whole new realm of possibility and scientific reality in a very 5-dimensional way. Energy and being able to test energy may be a quantum leap for many, but like anything, when we are open to a new idea, let go of limiting thoughts, you enter a literal field of consciousness that will allow more space and more healing and opportunity, seen and unseen, and all to be manifested. So today we're stepping out of the woo and into a powerful force of energy that is validated through third-party testing, and how you can effortlessly help balance the energetic health with some of the latest of creations today. Our guest, Philip, who is a prolific entrepreneur, joins us as we gather at the round table to discuss his latest inventions from Lila Quantum Tech, all created to improve the life force of your health, environment, and yes, even your pet's health and vitality while having a positive impact on your mind and thought life. So whether you want to improve your sleep performance or just become more effective at work or focus more in class, hello, all you lovely mothers out there listening to this while you're trying to tame your children at home, there is a wide variety of ways to apply these tangible energy enhancing techniques to your life to use as a safeguard from the toxic world that we live in today. So who is Philip? So Philip is a conscious entrepreneur, alternative health ambassador, and energy healer. Professionally, he has been successful international business as a CMO and vice president at Fortune 500 companies in Europe and in the US. And trained in various energy healing and shamanic practices, Philip has worked through blockages and barriers that prevented him to truly connect him to his true self. His main current focus is Lila Labs, manufacturer of C60, and Lila Quantum Tech, which provides quantum energy and frequency products to support health and well-being. My good buddy, hello, Mr. Philip. Welcome to the Awaken Beauty podcast.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely.
Really excited.
Prolific entrepreneur, like absolutely is you. And one over here, obviously I've got all my beauty products back there, but let's tap into some energy today. So obviously, standing on the shoulder of many giants, the field of quantum energy is growing leaps and bounds, no pun intended. And so really I want us just to kind of step into the big picture of, you know, your passion for what you're you're not reinventing, you're actually cultivating just this culture of beautiful products that on every level and layer of our life that we can bring into our life to help enhance our health and our energetic health. And I think, you know, in the fast information age, the absolute need and want to feel better in such a chaotic world with COVID and now 5G, you know, these are really practical pieces that you have come to invent. And so what kind of brought you to this passion of creating tactical, everyday lifestyle products for the average consumer?
Yeah, I think it's really science meets consciousness is kind of the theme. And I found myself in that situation a few years ago several years ago, when I heard first about C60 and after, you know, my career and in parallel really working on my own stuff and getting through that and getting trained in various practices, as you mentioned, at some point I noticed really, there's something that I'm here for, that I want to work on, where my passion really is. And after that, long career in corporate America, I was suddenly, really free and wanted to only do that. And it kind of crystallized over time. I knew it was about helping people and doing something good. But then when I heard about C60, I had this instant, wow, this is something. And what was that actually with C60? C60 is a molecule that's so much more than just general supplements, and it can take us so much further than we think, because it not only works on the physical level, it really also works on the energetic and the quantum level. And so it actually brings you forward consciousness wise, and everybody that has taken C60 for a while will tell you that it brings you into more balance, brings you into more knowledge about yourself and who you are and all of that. Helps a little bit with that. So it's kind of a bridge. And the same is true for quantum energy and quantum technology frequency products, because those act as a bridge as well. First of all, to more health, to more wellness, to more energy, frankly. And we're not talking electricity here for people that just tuned in. We're talking about really the quantum field that's everywhere, but that you can concentrate with various mechanisms, but also with your consciousness, frankly, and then you can work with it and do certain things and move things. And I think that's where really my passion is, and helping people understand, first of all, what's that all about, and then finding ways and how these technologies and frequencies can improve our lives in every aspect of our lives. And yeah, so I don't know what else may come, but these are, I'm very busy with these two things, and it's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And, to C60, and I can absolutely attest, I've been doing some tooth work and working with a biological dentist, and you and I are working on some formulas together for C60 to kind of bring out into the industry. And, when we talk about antioxidants and what they do, at a very basic form, we're squelching up free radicals, which are always in us, just like cancer cells are always in us. But C60 goes way, way beyond that and recycles itself. And it's like this whole component itself, and not going down that rabbit hole per se, like, the sensitivity in my teeth has gone down. I've seen testimonials, people growing back their grafting and their tissue around their teeth pockets. And I'm starting, and I have absolutely noticed that. And so, studies that have, double the lifetime of rats. What was the study on the rats? And it, do you know the study on the rats with the C60?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was actually the University of Paris, which is
Yeah.
not just some university, it's actually fairly reputable. And yeah, they figured out, to make a very long story short, that the rats that got the C60 in the study, even though they wanted to actually kill them with the C60, they
Hmm.
couldn't kill them. They actually lived like twice as long as
Yep.
all the other rats that didn't get the C60. And that was kind of an interesting finding. And that was in 2012. So since that time, there has been a lot of research in that space for sure.
Yeah. So when we really tap into a product in itself, but really what stepping beyond the product, the frequency and what it embodies, it's kind of like a breatharianism. Somebody can be in sunlight and not eat food and not drink water, but can live without the need of food and water. It is
Mhm.
the very frequency that is life-giving. And this is what we're opening up with Lila quantum tech and how yes, we have a tangible product, but it's the field that it's creating around our body and in our body that's doubling our lifespan, that's creating a better quality of life. And so what I really love about what you've done is, one, you have validated testing. It's a very, very tough industry, as you know, there is a lot of woo out there. So, you know, we have everything from, you know, I'm a little woo. So we have everything from things like this, from rocks and crystals and all of this. But I'm a really science gal and you are a science guy. And I really love that you have validated testing on different ways that you can bring these units into your life. So, you know, let's kind of go into what you have created and the different products and how they work. So let's maybe start with the beautiful thing that you have around your neck. And, you know, I have a guy right here as well. I kind of embellish them up on different, I'm a girl. But let's talk with the, you know, the capsule and the brass capsule and what goes inside the capsule and how it broadcasts energy around the body for true health and equilibrium.
Yep. So this year, this is the Lila Quantum capsule, and this is the so-called Heal capsule.
Mm-hmm.
So we have also a few other capsules. We have some frequency combinations in the pipeline. We just didn't want to come out right at first with too many different variations, also not to overwhelm people and to give too much choice there. But there are definitely some interesting new frequency sets that are going to come out. We have two from K. Elmer specifically, one for men and one for women. And he did a great job in working on those frequencies. This is the Heal frequency that's in here, and that's stored in this brass capsule, right? And it's what it is, it's the primal human healing frequency. There's some other healing frequencies added into that. Also the primal healing water frequencies. Now, some people may wonder, okay, so what is that? That's basically the source. You could almost say it's like the mother of the so-called heal water springs that we used to find on Earth. Because you can't really find them anymore. Some of them have just disappeared. I mean, they're just not there anymore. Others actually have moved a little bit, you know, physically, literally. And then a very good example is Lourdes in France that a lot of people know. And I've been there a couple times, but it is not anymore the water that it used to be for various reasons, you know. It's been also misused as a source. We know that, you know, some of these very spiritual fountains, if you will, they're also, you know, leveraged and then misused for negative purposes. So we wanted to go straight to the source in order to provide the best frequency to structure water. And then there's a bio-base frequency included as well. That is one that actually on a physical level, if you take it, it's been developed over a 30-year period by a bunch of scientific researchers that found out what's the best optimal mix of vitamins, minerals, and organic plant extracts to help the human body function properly and to always be nourished in the best possible way. So we actually were able to gather the frequency of that, also loaded into the capsule. And then inside there are 5 purple titanium spheres, and they're charged only with quantum energy. And what that does then is that the frequencies that are here in this capsule, they get radiated out further so that your whole body and energetic system can actually leverage them. And again, you know, for some people that are watching right now, they may say, well, yeah, that's the woo-woo part. And that's what I find so exciting about it, because you know, I can see what it does, and anybody that can work with energies and can see so-called seers or healers,
Right.
they can see all this. You know, you give it to some person and instantly they see what it does. Within 20 or 30 seconds, you have the frequencies in your bloodstream. You lift up physically already and energetically. But that's exactly the part where we went in and said, okay, this is great. And we know there are tons of people out there that resonate, that look in the heart, and that's how they see it. It works for them, and that they would like to have something like this and work with it. But we wanted to cover the scientific part, and I think that's where we're really first movers in this space to really figure out, okay, what does this do, and can we scientifically prove what it does? And yes, we've done that. We have about 400 pages of studies on our website. You can go to that. We don't have all the details right now in English because a lot of that is being translated, but all of the certificates you can find all of the summaries and even some of the deep dive documents, just not everything. And yeah, we've proven it actually with two different institutes that have completely different methods on how they test. With each, I guess they ran with 12 to 16 test persons. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the very exciting part. So especially this one here, yeah, you can read a whole lot about that, and I could talk forever about what we found with that.
Yeah, I love the capsule. It was my first unit from you, and I just love it. It has a special place in my heart, and it is placed next to the heart when you wear it around these, and you have these new beautiful, just necklaces that you can wear with them. And the biomass is really important, and how I would translate it, and how we've kind of tapped into water. And if you think about seawater, right, if we go all the way back to the beginning of time, and the very algae that was started literally the earth, and that algae then expands into the sea, into the water, which is just the ultimate life-giving purifier of all mankind. And we put it in our beauty products, as we use our base of the seawater, because the men would come back and sit in saline water to heal their body. And that's how I think about the biomass. Not only does it have all the perfection of, we want to talk about organic farming, the perfection of the vitamins and the minerals and the absolute base our body was made to thrive on. Then we have the enhanced Lord of France water, and we have all of this brought into these, 5 spheres, which are neutral. And then we put them into the Heal capsule, which helps broadcast these all the time. So you're always being nourished. And what I love about it, whether it's the biofeedback frequency tones or these Heal capsules or these other units you guys have, is that it's such a peace of mind to know that there's something that you have, no matter what, that you're getting efficiency that's been tested and validated of nourishment, right? So it's just so epic. And I'll go ahead and I'm going to do a quick share. It just depends. You obviously listen to the podcast, you won't be able to see it. But you can see here, this is the Heal capsule. So you can see these spheres inside of it, right? So you have a man's necklace and a woman's necklace. And it just, explains everything right down here. So this is the Leela Q.com website. So epic, love it. So let's go ahead and let's move into the next. And since I have my screen open, you can see we've got the bracelets here. So you have these cute little bracelets. Say a little bit more about those.
Yeah, so those are copper bracelets, and I guess people have heard, in general, that copper bracelets are positive for the body.
Mm-hmm.
And copper is a very interesting metal, actually. It's been used for millennia, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And it's absolutely amazing in its antiviral properties. It's actually the most antiviral metal that you can find, even more than silver. And it has some other benefits. And there's actually, I forgot the name. We have them quoted on our website, actually, but there's a very great scientist, actually, of current scientist, not from the past,
Mm-hmm.
who's done just amazing research on copper. Now, what's happening here? So these are the first copper bracelets that are charged with quantum energy. That's what we did, and so we experimented with them for quite some time, actually. And what happens is that the copper frequency then is radiated out, first of all, so it can be made available and leveraged in an even better way. Plus, the quantum energy itself, and you wear it around your wrist, obviously, and that's a pretty good point to wear it, and you'll feel pretty much instantly that you get a lot more energy, and it produces some fire in you. And with that, I mean, certainly it's not like burning or anything. That's the energetic fire that I'm
Right.
describing, and I think people can relate to that, what I mean. And we actually recommend to definitely not wear these at night, just
Hmm.
because they really have a stimulating effect. So
Yeah.
if you want to have a day where you want to focus, or you just feel drawn in the winter time and just need some more energy, then that's a good one to
Yeah.
use.
Now, have you found, as a hairdresser, and my mom has arthritis, and luckily I don't. I mean, I've been doing it for 20 years, plan on another 20. You know, Copper has been used around the wrists for people with inflammation. So I would assume, obviously you're creating energy in the body, and you're also probably neutralizing inflammation in the body because we're creating balance. The
Mhm.
purpose of energy is to bring the body back into homeostasis. So have you found any pain reduction in people that have arthritic type tendencies by wearing these?
So, I mean, we've heard a lot about that, but we can't confirm that at this point, not because
Right.
it can't be confirmed. It's just because we didn't study the specific aspect of
Yeah.
arthritis. That is definitely an interesting part, though, that we really may get into, because our studies are definitely not done, because there's so much more to explore. It's just amazing how much you
Yeah.
can study actually
I
and
mean, it's
find out.
endless, totally.
Yes.
And then on the site still, so we've got like the quantum coaster. How great is that? So, just like something interesting about the heel is that, with the heel capsule, right? It's copper. The bracelets are copper. Uh, you
And
can
this is
take that,
brass.
or that's
Yeah.
brass. Yes, that's the
Yeah,
brass.
exactly. Yeah.
Um, you can take these guys and you can put them up to like charge your water. So I put it on top of, a water purifier in my fridge. So I'll lay them on top of my water, right? So I'll charge my water. The coaster will charge your water. So you can kind of use them, interchangeably to charge the water.
Exactly. Yes. So the capsule, contains these specific frequencies. So you can indeed charge your water with it, and it goes relatively quick, but we recommend 20, 25, 30 minutes, and
Okay.
then you got really just some absolutely awesome water. You can also charge, other beverages certainly with it, and also other food. And then the coaster, that doesn't contain any frequencies. It's just charged with quantum energy,
Yep.
and it's just by itself. Even if you don't use it for anything else, it looks beautiful. I mean, first of all, it kind of is a fairly beautiful piece, as you can see on the website. It's fairly heavy actually also, so it's not just some throwaway thing. It's really designed to uplift the your home, and if you have guests over and something like that, and then they radiate that energy, and people, they recognize that, right? Even if you have people that don't really see energy or think that doesn't exist, but they will find this especially beautiful just because it radiates so nice. It's almost as if there's just some life in there.
Hmm.
And certainly if you put a glass on it, then the energy will energize the glass. And my wife actually had a fun idea just the other day. Well, I had never thought about that. But you know, we eat very healthy, I must say that, but we still love some candy, some good
Yeah.
German candy. So we always have some, and we got kids. So
And you have children.
and
So hello.
yeah, exactly. So now we have this. She has this glass bowl. It's more like a huge glass actually,
Candy
with
bowl.
candies in there. And then she was like, you know what? I could actually put it on that coaster. And then she put that on. And I tell you, the next day I grabbed a candy there. It is a different candy. It tastes at minimum as great as before, but you feel like, okay, it's gotten a little bit more healthy. Not saying no, you got healthy food. There's that, certainly not, but it makes a difference. You can
Yeah.
sense the difference, and you
Yeah.
can
It's,
use
I
it for
mean,
any kind of Coke, or for Fanta if you want to put that on,
yeah.
and just have basically unhealthy drinks. Would call those unhealthy drinks, and then get a little bit of yeah, better energy into it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to put that on the side. No people, great addictions and vices. Now quantum charge with quantum energy just created a
Yeah,
high.
get away from those sugar drinks. I
Yes.
didn't want to promote that
There
at
are
all.
no
I'm just saying
excuses.
it's like we have tested that. We honestly have tested that. So in the study, it actually came out that if you can energize certain foods with it, and we looked specifically at foods also that contain certain toxins or herbicides, pesticides, which you can find in so many products nowadays. Unfortunately, most people are not aware of that, but it's the case. It's a fact. And the quantum energy can actually neutralize and harmonize the effect of these toxic substances in the body. So it's not me saying that, it's really the study saying that.
Yeah, it's so awesome. And, um, you know, speaking of the body, so then we've got the antimicrobial, antiviral, 99%, and it's also with, the silver in it for the clothing, and it helps with 5G, 4G, 3G. You want to talk about a torus field, you become a torus field when you wear your clothing. And obviously 5G is a big hot topic. And, we see a lot of them. We've got the EMF pendants and things of that nature, the things that we slap on the back of our phones. Unfortunately, the industry is a really tough one to mind because
Mhm.
no names said, a really really hot beauty and food blogger purchases an EMF card that goes out of business because their test didn't go through and were validated false, so sells it to her email base, and we find out that it's not even a validated product. So I cannot express enough how much I appreciate your studies. And I know that you put money into your studies. And so I have personally not seen clothing that live up to this high of a bar and what it actually accomplished. And I'll go ahead and share my screen for this one too, because it's really, really great to see um, exactly what we're talking about here. But maybe you can talk a little bit about the
Yep.
Lila clothing.
Absolutely. And before I get into that, because you mentioned these little stickers for the back, and I want to say that actually we were thinking about also having such stickers as
Mhm.
part of our product portfolio. And I can tell you, you won't find it on lilaq.com just because they don't work. And I can't say that for all of them, but we tested 8 different of these stickers that people
Yep.
say are these golden stickers that you can buy on Amazon everywhere. You put
Yep.
them on your phone. Doesn't work. We had the institutes look at that and they came back with just there's no effect at all. There's no difference. So frankly, we just, of course, we could have charged it with quantum energy and you would have had some effect, but that's really not worth it.
No.
So we focused on stuff that is of very high quality, lives up to a high standard, and then actually works. And the quantum clothing, all of our fashion products, they contain very high purity silver fabrics. And so by design already, they're the antimicrobial, antiviral, antibacterial. There's no odor that is generated really in there because they're odor neutral, and then they block EMF, right? So that and that
Huge.
certainly, yeah,
So
we
huge.
got that tested and certified, yeah. And but then on top of that, I mean, and you can find some of that type of clothing somewhere. I must say though, I mean, we've certainly also tested the industry here, and
Right.
we don't want to name names here because I don't view them as competitors, as because I think this is a field that deserves attention, and it's a great field, and we love if people do these things, and also if other companies do these things. But certainly none of them works with quantum energy. But there's just some t-shirts that we bought that are just, it's a ripoff,
Yep.
frankly, right? They first of all look totally bad. There's no design in them, and you wash them once and you can throw them away. I mean,
Mhm.
we sent them back, but it's just terrible, right? I mean, there's some good products out there, some hats that you can find that we've seen where I said, yeah, I mean, they've done a nice job with that. but that we focused on also clothing that looks nice, as at least as nice as you can make it. And then we charge it with quantum energy. So while you're blocking EMF on, if you wear a t-shirt, obviously all of your organs are protected in that sense, right? Because the EMF doesn't go through. At the same time, the quantum energy is transmitted to your body, and you can work with it, and it uplifts your body functions. It's one thing out of this study. Your organs work better. Things like herbicides, pesticides, etc., are frequency-wise are neutralized. And I mean, there are even some things that are so awesome. I don't even want to mention everything here, because there's a couple things about virus and things like that that shouldn't be mentioned on a YouTube video, but there
Right,
is
but
some very interesting stuff.
we can absolutely say by bringing your body back into homeostasis, creating
Yeah,
more
look into
positive
the studies.
energy, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
irregardless, to me, this is really one of the first companies that has really some really, really, two different study groups, really validated studies. And, when we think about clothing, right? So performance, athletic performance, athletic recovery, somebody that has chronic fatigue and suffers can wear the clothing and just start to give their body just a soft, subtle energy. It's not going to, these things aren't going to it's going to work with your body, using things
yes.
like this. And maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. You can't overdose on quantum energy. It's not possible, but it will work with your body to bring it back into balance and receive and to build up as it's needed and take in what it's needed. Correct?
Yeah, and there's certainly also difference in. I mean, I think you can overdose with quantum energy, not in the sense of really like calling it an overdose, but there can be certain effects where you would say, okay, well, let's not take in too much quantum energy right now. First of all, it's the way of how it's done,
Right.
and we've focused on, the devices that we use actually have a field that doesn't push the scale on just one end and then makes you kind of almost be totally unbalanced in another way, where you need to keep up suddenly and then feel good again. It's actually working in real harmony, and that's a absolutely what unique feature of the devices that we use for that. And I give you this example of an overdose, right? Because I want to explain that.
Right.
That's why we say, for example, don't use these uh, copper bracelets or even this capsule at night. Some people can do it.
I
It's
couldn't.
absolutely
I put it
possible.
underneath my pillow and I couldn't. I tried it 3 nights in a row and I reduced one sphere at a time. And,
Yep,
I went down to one sphere and then I built back up as my body kind of got accustomed to it. But I mean, you are
yep,
right. And you have to be in tune with your body to really feel how you adjust. If we're really out of balance, the body's
yep,
that's why the body does, right? Thoughts, feelings, and
yep.
emotions show us that we're in some way, some waveform of balance or unbalance. So pay attention to your
Yes,
body, but it
yes.
won't
And
kill
so
you.
during the day, it's no issue whatsoever. And it's even for some people at night, no problem. But
Right.
because it really provides you with energy,
Yep.
makes me be more focused, more concentrated, more alive, if you will, and provides you with
100%.
energy. You don't need that at night, because at night we want the body to rest and to recover and all of that. So that's why we have the frequency cards, for example. But let's maybe talk about real quick before we move into that topic, what kind of clothing products we actually have. And
Yeah.
so I think we'll cover a whole lot, but right now we have various types of socks that are actually especially focused on athletic performance. So for runners, for hikers, for walkers, those are socks. But there's some socks that you can actually, the way they look, you can wear them also just in your regular day if you go to work. And if you have a day where you need specifically more energy, for example, then those will be great to wear. And one thing I want to say here, the socks don't contain that much a silver, just because
Mm,
it's just not possible with socks, because you want them to also have a great feeling at the feet.
right. You have to
But
have
it's
movement.
an it, yeah, and it's just enough to charge them well with quantum energy, and the feet have so many thousands of important nerve endings and other reflexology points,
Mm-hmm.
that while you're having that energy there, it's just wonderful for the body, right? It's just absolutely fantastic. Then we can talk about the quantum T-shirt that we have for women and for men. Then we have a cap. I can actually show that here if you want. I was thinking about wearing it here for the session, but then I decided against it.
Oh, I see your
Yeah.
beautiful face. Yeah, that's a great cap. Love the logo.
and and then we have hats, that's gray and anthracite, kind of dark
Yep.
hats. And then we
I
have
love the little baby hat. I mean, think of those precious little babies and, protecting their beautiful brains. And oh my gosh, it's so genius. I just love it. What mother would not want to protect their child's brain?
Yep. Yeah, and you're right. So that's actually a field that we're moving into a little bit more,
Yes.
because indeed, if you're so little and you're exposed to so much radiation that's going
So
on,
susceptible.
exactly. And you want, as a mother or father, you want peace of mind. I mean, we have kids, we know how that is. And
Yep.
just with some little things, if you can protect the brain and the head a little bit. But we're also working on some baby socks here, and
Awesome.
just one or two other products currently, and we're actually also planning a study for that specifically, because I think this is an important field. Not so much has been done for babies, and yeah, I mean, I think something that shouldn't be underestimated, to start early and helping the kids.
Yeah. I mean, just like, toxic beauty products, you slap it on, it's running right through that precious little body, and it doesn't have the detoxification, channels built up yet. It's just really a sponge, just as the mind is. And so really love that. Great, great niche. And then we've got the dog collars. So we've got pet support. So that's really awesome. Do we maybe want to move into the Leela quantum cards?
Sure, yeah, we can absolutely do that.
Yeah, these are
And
really
I
awesome.
also have one here. If you want me to show one here real quick, I'm happy to do it, so you can see one live. I don't know, it doesn't show on my screen here, but I don't know if you can see, or the
Yep.
audience. And so what's unique, so these are
Yeah.
cards, and on the front it has the Leela mandala. You can see
Hmm.
that, and it also says what card it is. And this specific one is actually the inner peace card, which is not yet available on the website. So this is a kind of a teaser. So
Nice.
it'll come out in the next 2 weeks at some point. And what's unique is that on the back of each of
Cool.
these cards, we have a specific mandala that we actually got created. All of those for each specific frequency. So the mandala matches the
I love how you
frequency
say
of the
mandala.
card.
Mandala.
How would you say it?
I don't even, I'm so Minnesotan. It's not even appropriate.
Okay, got it.
Everything is a mandala. No, mandala. It's just so fluent out of your German voice.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
great.
So
So
we
you
put
have a
some work in
specific
that.
design and frequency and build in the visual, which creates a whole, frequency and shift to its purpose, which is really, really cool. And those cards are just so cool. So, you can charge your food, you can charge the body, you can wear it on the body. You have all
And
these
at night.
different, yes, and at night. So I'll go ahead and share my screen on this one again. So we have different purposes behind these. So, that one's going to be new, but you can kind of see on the screen, we've got, cats, dogs, plants, and then we have the men and women's piece, the EMF protector, primal prosperity, unity card, sleep and rest card. We've got the nutritional bio base card, which goes back to what's inside the
Mhm.
necklaces. So really a wide variety. And I can see this being able, I mean, you could probably build these cards out to the, to the ends of time. But I really love, you can kind of see the design on the cards. You know, I know that you guys have had some really profound success with plants. You know, you can't really see my children over here, but I'm going to need them for my plants. Food, nutritional quality of the food. Do these cards, do the necklaces, do any of these units, is there any chance of them losing the frequency or losing the power? If, you know, how long do they last? And have you been able to test that?
Yeah, they last forever unless you purposely, remove the frequency, and that no one really knows how to do that. I mean, we are actually working on a device that can reset any object that you charged with a frequency, because it's a need also for some people that have charged things with a frequency, and then they're like, oh my god, I don't want that frequency anymore now.
Right.
How do I reset it? And no one knows, other than maybe a handful of very specific healers that can work on an extremely granular level and could then
Mhm.
isolate a single frequency, even out of frequency set, and then remove that. So we for example we work with a whole network of different healers, and those are not just some healers, by the way. Those are healers that are absolutely recognized in their space and their capability to do that, and they've all trained hundreds and sometimes thousands of other healers worldwide. And with those, we work together on creating some of these frequencies. One of them is Roman Hafner, but we have actually from all over the world, from Asia, from Europe, from the US, we have different healers that we work with because of different things, right? One is we wanted to validate our products. We wanted to see what happens actually. And then we wanted to create the best and most pure frequencies that
Mhm.
you can produce, because there's a responsibility. People underestimate that, frequencies, if you get impure frequencies, then
Yeah.
that's actually not helpful. And yeah, so many people can't see energy, can't understand that really, but it makes a huge difference. And
Yeah.
it you just have to, if you have to, have that responsibility to do the best you can to provide the most pure frequencies. And that's why we do that. And also because you'll see in, the selection of the frequencies, that there's some frequencies that have a very specific purpose, like the sleep and rest, for example,
Hmm.
or the biobase. They're absolutely clear, what it does and what you use it for. Okay, I want to sleep better, let me try this one and work with that. But
Right.
then there are some other frequencies as well, that if people are on their inner path, how I like to call it, to develop your inner consciousness. Some people call it the spiritual path. However you want to call it, doesn't really matter. It's always the same. And there are some frequencies that are designed for that as well, because in different stages of that path, we bump into certain things that we would like to focus on more, that we want to develop more and work with. And some of these frequencies then help, and they actually work almost as if you had a healing session with someone that helps you with that frequency. But the good thing is you now have one for your pocket, and these cards, they're not charged with a lot of quantum energy, so they don't stimulate you really. You just work with the frequency. So you can even put it underneath the pillow. If you have the heal a frequency card for your cat or for your dog, for example, you can just put it underneath where they sleep at night, and they won't be bothered in their sleep at all. It's going to help them, and the energy is going to be there. And it's just a nice way on how to leverage those.
Yeah, I really love that. And you know, I think there's phases, right, of consciousness and awakening. And, you know, I think the most powerful that we have is with this, within our own mind and our breath and our intention, is really comes back to why do we want the frequencies? You know, is it to create shortcuts? No, not necessarily. It's because we're on this path of consciousness, of being awakened, to understanding what frequencies are, to partnering with really sustainable and foundational and honored companies like yours to further the path. You know, it's kind of like my Life in Full Bloom group coaching program and what I'm developing with that it's not to cut corners. It's none of that. It's to help you get aligned with your true identity, your true self, stay in alignment, create consciousness so that you can then pass it on to others. But the cards, the necklaces, they're a really fun way and an extremely advanced way of capturing what is already out there, right? It's like humans have a brain and the rest of nature doesn't have a brain. It exists in its perfection. And so really we're capturing what this perfection is out there so that because we're in such an advanced world with 5G and news and all of this, we're constantly bombarded. You cannot escape the stressors of the world, but it doesn't mean that you can't control your mind, your body, and the frequency there in which is of. And so things like this are just so incredible. They're fun to play with. People love tinkering with stuff like this. Nothing against you, Elmer, because you're the tinker man. But it's just such a beautiful way to be able to not shortcut, but to quicken and enhance the road that you are setting an intention for. So I don't think units like these should just be, thrown around. It's really truly a company of consciousness that's wanting to bring awareness to energy. Some people can see it, a lot of people can't. But when you start getting into alignment with that, you'd be amazed by things that you can start to feel that just start to happen. And, I can attest to that. And in using things like this really help people cut down on the stressors in life. We're definitely feeling it. And that's why I really want to honor you, Philip. And thank you so much for being on the podcast again to really talk about these new inventions that really have validated studies. And I can only imagine everything that you guys have on the list that you're going to be developing. So exciting. So are there any really off the wall stories that you could maybe share? Like maybe let's just grab 2 stories that you could share with one of your units or feedback from your users.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I think that what was really the most amazing are the studies that actually happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because I mean we've seen people use our products when we tested them, and we've had some amazing success with people using this one, and then suddenly their eye problems were gone in a very short way. And that, by the way, doesn't mean that if you have eye problems, don't take this thing and then it's gone, right? That's not how it works. This is not a pill. This actually supports your body in reactivating your inner healer, if you will, your inner healing abilities, because the body can heal itself, right? And this just helps with that. But the
Right.
most amazing was really when we gave these products out of our hands to these third-party institutes, and then had them run with it, and with their test people that had no clue what they were actually wearing there and what was that about, and how people react negatively towards radiation, for example, or toxic substances. And even so, for example, the BESA Institute out of Austria, um, so they do a bioenergetic system analysis, and it's actually all people with a medical background, right? They've done this for many, many years, and it's, I think, the largest institute in Europe of this kind to do these tests and run those studies. They were able to test the people when they came in, and most of them were in a already almost deregulated state, right? I mean, not in a positive state, not in a healthy state.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would expose them to radiation, had a phone in their hand, Wi-Fi and stuff like that, or put them in a car with a phone, where in the car, electro smog, how you call it in Europe, or EMF, how you call it in the US,
Right.
is a lot more in a car. And then they would measure how the organs would react and how just the people in general would do. And it was such a negative impact. They would expose them to toxic substances and all of that. And then it's absolutely amazing that when they then wore our products, they ran these tests again. Each and every time, all of the people, all of the test person, they had the optimum measurement level afterwards. Not just good, it was all at optimum. And you can see that in the studies. And I think that is the most amazing. And that is also great that we're able to share this now, and that people can then feel that for themselves, but they can also go to those studies and then understand, okay, what does all that do?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then another interesting story from the other institute, the EGIF Institute out of Dublin in Spain. So, they tested all of our products for radiation protection, right? And then something like the t-shirt is kind of easy to measure on one hand, right? Because you could use your general devices on how to measure these frequencies and are they still there or not. But the capsule doesn't block EMF. It doesn't have this shield function. What it does, it actually harmonizes and neutralizes it. But how do you measure that? And a scientific method that has been established over the last decade is to measure the heart rate variability. And also there, they had, I think, 12 test persons, and they tested all of those, and how they would do when they are exposed to electromagnetic fields. And it's interesting, first of all, and I say that none of us should actually be worried about EMF, 5G, and all of that, because we have the inborn ability to actually deal with it ourselves. And that's actually our goal. We want people ideally to not need any of our products in the future. We want them to have learned on how they can deal with it with themselves. And all of our products are designed so that you can not only protect yourself, but on the path, learn a little bit more about how you can do that. Because as you work with these frequencies and these energies, your body and your system starts to kind of learn on how to do that. And so it's interesting because everybody's really different. And they had one person out of the 12 there in that study that was not impacted by EMF, right? She was just able to deal with it. And then you also don't see that the capsule helps her even more because she's already not bothered by it. But then you also can see that the vast majority of the people, they just don't know. They've completely forgotten how to deal with it. They're impacted by it relatively hard. And then again, the capsule put them back into that optimal state. And what also came out, what we didn't know before actually, was the longer you wore the capsule, the more it helped. So if they took it off at night, because that's what we recommended, but then if they had worn them for 2 days, and in some cases they measure 3 days as well, the effects on the whole body and the heart rate variability was even more positive than just wearing it for just like half hour.
Amazing. Amazing. And that goes back to, I really love what you said about taking it back to you're teaching people about energy. It's like this overt and covert relationship, right? As we are as companies. I've been a 15-year organic salon. I'm not political, but I am absolutely gall darn passionate about helping women at whatever phase they are awaken to, if you can make a better choice, why not? And I'm here to create that. Now, when I first created the organic salon, I was going back to school for functional medicine. Just like you, I foresaw a time and a place in the future where the world would be so toxic that there would be certain people that would only be able to come into my salon, to only be able to use my hair color or products or whatever. Now the industry is kind of sped up, and just like the energetic world, the beauty world, the health world, there's a lot of not so truthful companies out there, right? But you are on the path, as I am on the path, to educate individuals. And now I'm just so in love with embodying my own frequency and helping others understand of what we're capable of. And to your point, this woman that was totally fine with EMF, it'd be interesting to have a chat with her. How is her life? She's probably a really optimistic person. She probably doesn't take herself so doggone serious, and has a really interesting outlook on life, and maybe some energetic practices. Who knows, right? So
Yes.
It starts here, but then we can use these elements to, one, educate ourselves, educate the body, understand the field that we're in, educate the field that we're in, the superconscious, right? And really start to kind of live in unanimity with these different frequencies, because what's out there is just going to continue to get a little bit more hectic. And so, I just really love that the main thing that people complain of is stress, exhaustion, and feeling overwhelmed. And that's all
Exactly.
frequency. And to
Yes.
me, every single one of these units either creates more energy or dissolves stress or creates equilibrium. It's exactly what I do with my biofeedback program. It's so profound of how detailed I can get. I can read the organs, I can read these. And it's not saying, your organ's gone to crap. It's saying that there is an imbalance in your field. So we're just going to bring it back into balance and allow the body to heal itself. Right? So that's why we're not proclaiming we're doing anything. We're just bringing homeostasis back.
Exactly. And it's, the added focus really that we have is also to help people really find their inner strength again.
Yes.
And, it's people will probably relate to that when I say that now, but
Yeah.
over the last decades and last years especially, and very especially now, we've seen that the security in the outer world, or the protection, the anchor that we always try to find and see in the outer world, is completely disappearing. And I can tell you what, it's probably going to disappear even more.
Yep.
But that's also not where our true anchor is. It's here,
Nope.
it's in our hearts. We need to find the way back into our own hearts, into our own inner strength, and wake up to the fact that, we have all this power within us. And if
Yep.
we can do that, then also the outer world for us will change. But then we don't have to hang on to these straws in the outside world, and they're being taken away and pulled away, right? You can't hang on to these things anymore. It's just, you have to give up doing that. You just need to find the way back to yourself. And that's kind of one of our missions, where we really try to, maybe be a partner in that, and just
Mhm.
help. And that's the energy products we provide are supposed to help on that journey, if you will.
I love it. It is a journey, an absolute journey. And when you really put it in that frame, it's just, over COVID and just really sinking in and really coming down to my true identity. I think that's the same thing that what you're saying. You know, Safety and security go back to the Maslow's law, right? It's the number one thing people look for. And when we're born in this world, we have our true identity. We're pure imperfection. And between the ages of 1 and 7, we don't have an analytical mind to block out things that aren't right and true for us. We soak up all of our beliefs. And then we have these falsehoods of political and power and hierarchies that's just the masculine and feminine world that we live in, that we never really understand that we were born perfect and pure, and that life is a journey of discovery and evolving ourselves so that we can be of service to others. And that's exactly what you've done with Lila Labs, and Lila Tech now, and what you're evolving and what I'm evolving. And I'm doing a lot more with consciousness work and helping women come back to their true identity. And this woman that you talked about that didn't really have any if or that with the EMF, I can guarantee she probably had an essence of her that had her true identity in alignment, right? So I can't thank you enough. And, having conversations like this helps others awaken to their true identity, and using fun things like that to learn about frequency, to have a little bit of support, because nobody does it alone, right? So, I think that our world is shifting. I think the information age actually has been a blessing on this front. And, we have tools like this now to protect us from the EMF as we're on the fast track to the information. So I just love what you've done, Philip. I always end the podcast with, is there anything that you personally, and I think, man, you're going to have to dig deep for this one, lately that you have awakened to on the Awaken Beauty podcast? Just anything personal that today, yesterday, last week, the invention of this company that's really awakened you deep in your heart?
Well, I think it's just happened over the last year or two, really, the passion in trying to help others also find their path. Because I've walked that path for a long time.
Mhm.
And it's like peeling an onion, right? So you peel and you peel and get closer to your inner core, and it's just, you know, the more you get there and the more you find the access to your own power, you know, the more you realize also what life is really about. And I think it'd be just wonderful if a lot more people join on that path and, you know, find their inner strength. And a lot more people are, frankly, right? I mean, it
Yes.
is happening. It is happening. But
Yep.
yeah, just being part of that is amazing. And yeah, I've certainly also noticed, especially over the last several years, that, and that may wonder some people right now, that, you know, it's not a bad time right now that we're living in. It's a great time. And yes,
Right.
certainly it's bad. There's a lot of bad stuff happening, but that's also the polarity we're in here.
Right.
There's bad stuff happening. At the same time, there's a lot of good happening. And
Mhm.
you can find that. Focus on that. Focus on the horizon. Focus on the opportunities that lay within the problems that are there right now. And
Yep.
don't just focus on the negative. And that's what, you know, that's the test for all of us right now. You know, who do we want to be? Where do we want to be in the future? And we can choose to just focus on the negative and just cry all day about what's happening, or we can just try to focus on the positive and walk that path. And yeah, I think more than ever, it has become also clear to me that these two things are just happening and then just parallel.
Yeah, you know, and on that note, you know, yes, all the negative, and I keep on saying it's a toxic world out there. Yeah. Um, the war of good and evil has always been here. And my tapping into the near future and the future is good wins. And it's absolutely evolving and it's absolutely happening because of those waking up. And I'm not talking about all of these big old gurus of hierarchies of all these people that sit on their yogi mats. And I'm talking about average people waking up. And I could not celebrate it more. And, you know, back to our true identity, and you're talking about the path, is coming back to, yes, finding our true identity, but creating. We are made as creators. You know, to see these incredible inventions that you've made or the things on the back of my shelf, because I really value my life as a creator and creating good for the world, right? So when we can go back to our innocence and go back to who we truly are and go back to not needing more and not feeling like we have less or scarcity, when we're in that perfect middle place, that's where we find neutrality and create out of the creation of life just because we love it. And that's what you've done with Leela. It's what I'm doing with everything I'm doing. And it's what others are doing well. And it's so fun to play in the playground with you. Where can individuals find you? We've got YouTube, we've got a website, obviously e-commerce we just showed on the podcast here. And then we also have the Telegram. So maybe you can share where we can find you.
Yeah, exactly. So again, check out the YouTube channel. It's new, so you know it's growing, and subscribe if you're interested in these type of topics. And we'll actually have not just, you know, Lila quantum tech related topics, but much more about healing, energy healing, quantum energy. Also interviews of other scientists and healers, etc. are coming. And then the quantum power group, you can probably find that in your video description, the invite to that group. It's a Telegram group where you can get engaged. If you like, you can learn and share, or you can just read about what's going on there. And then you can also get in contact with me there personally, because I'm personally very active there. And if you want to reach out, you can leverage that channel or send me a private message if you found me there. So yeah, and that's all about quantum energy,
Mm-hmm.
frequencies, healers, scientists, science meets consciousness, research that we do. So it's fun, and we have a great and fun group of people there. So it provides a lot of joy.
Yeah, Telegram group is it's a hoot. So fun. I can't thank you enough, Philip. Thank you so much for being on the Awaken Beauty podcast. And all of you, thank you for joining us today. I hope you captured something really awesome from today's podcast. Head over to the website, flow through the website, all the research studies. Just really, really epic. Thank you for your contribution to the world, Philip, you and your wife and your lovely family, all the healers that are part of the team. And thank you for listening to the Awaken Beauty podcast. So until next time, stay sane, get sleep, and bring your sexy back. Bye bye.